the Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair has actually kindly arranged this as an international event. And the reason we choose at this time is actually because a lot of places in the other parts of the world are tuning in. But, it's kind of reverse. And especially the European bloc is mourning to them at the present moment, which is why we're doing at this time in particular. But the thing is that there has actually been a lot of requests from the different continents, from India, Africa, Asia, the European bloc, to tune into this. But unfortunately, we can't really do it live because we have more than several tens of thousands of people using the internet now. All right, so we will record and we'll share with the rest of you all over the world. All right, okay, good evening, salam sejahtera, and salam keluarga Malaysia. Okay, the One Talk actually is an event where we bring together leaders in the related education network to share about their experiences from book fairs, publishing, book selling, libraries, World Book Capital, and producing employable grads. It's going to be a 5-day event, every day, 5 and 6 p.m. basically. So we have 5 exciting talks. Today the talk will be emphasizing on book selling, all right? Tuesday, 6 p.m. will be a talk of all the top industry people in publishing from different parts of the world, from UK, US, Singapore, and our own Malaysian publishers as well. Wednesday, we have something really interesting, which is on the producing employable grads, where the vice chancellors from various places will be gathering here. Some is taking all the decan from the faculty to join in and listen to the talk about producing employable grads. And on Thursday at 6 p.m., we will actually be having a talk on World Book Capital. And Friday, finally, we will be having a talk about the future of libraries, where the top librarians will gather to share. All right? Without further ado, I'd like to invite our key man for the Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair, Tuan K. Nadiron, who is the main organizer and a key person for this book fair, to say a few words and to officiate the One Talk for us. Over to you, Tuan K.
Thank you, Mr. Keith Tong. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat petang, salam sejahtera. And a warm greeting from all of us in Kuala Lumpur. We are live right now. No. Not yet. Recorded. Okay. We are not live, but it will be recorded. First and foremost, thank you for inviting me, Keith. And Keith say that I am the key man. And you know what the key man do? Open the door. So, with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I open the One Talk Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur 2022. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tuan K. Okay, we will start with a video from the Saja International Booksellers Conference. Now, the Saja International Book Conference is the first time an international bookseller conference is being held in the world, and it just happened last month. And we have 3 Malaysian candidates selected to join the fair, plus another 385 top booksellers around the world joining the fair. We will actually share with you the highlights of the entire Saja International Book Conference. Over to you, Stephanie.
Ladies and gentlemen, this gathering is unique, and it is so timely, because never before has such a varied international group of booksellers and other industry figures been brought together like this to discuss the state of bookselling in different parts of the world.
ومن خلال تنظيم هذا المؤتمر الأول من نوعه على مستوى العالم نتطلع إلى فتح منصة لعرض التجارب.
I want to say that in our environment, retail bookselling has been challenged for a number of years.
I think it's first a premiere That's booksellers from all across the world, 5 continents, get together and get out of their bookshops and rethink the bookselling business, and it's a very good sign for the future, because I think that books will not disappear and booksellers will continue to exist.
I think it's really important not to be cocooned in your own small world. I mean, it's lovely to meet sellers from across the world. It gives us a wonderful opportunity to see what is out there and interact one-on-one, you know. I mean, I think that's a really precious experience for most booksellers, because books are all about making connections.
A truly pioneering and revolutionary chain of bookshops in Cairo.
Ten years ago, industry experts predicted the global death of physical books and of their purveyors, the booksellers, in their bricks and mortar stores. Today, these same experts are celebrating the resilience of the book and the comeback of independent booksellers. Even though everything except for the book itself, from production to retail, has become completely electronic, paper and ink still remain. Keith Houston's The Book, a cover-to-cover exploration of the most powerful object of our time.
This is what publishing and bookselling is all about. Learning, connecting, and building everlasting relationships.
We are here to talk about the business of selling books in 2022 and beyond. We live and work in the physical world, but we communicate in the digital world. Transactions are done in the digital world. What does it mean for bookselling in the year 2022 and beyond?
Well, we've had tremendous success with social media, and I think I want to share, the next couple of slides, some of the learnings and the things that we've gained, such that, using social media, we're able to get about 30% of our monthly revenue selling books on Instagram, on Twitter, particularly. It's a daunting task, to be able to figure out social media. We are booksellers, we are not social media, experts, but it's just, for us, is figuring out what works, what connects with your readers, particularly, the younger, demographics. And so, the cheapest option for you might be hiring an intern, for instance, who's quite savvy, so you should explore that option. Or if you have the deep pocket, you could hire a social media marketing company, a consultant to help you, develop your footprint. It's important. If you ignore that space, you ignore it at your own risk. And so for you to just stay profitable and stay relevant in the book industry, you need to develop that competence in social media.
My life as an adult started off with teaching. So I was a secondary school teacher for many, many years. And that experience has been invaluable to me in all my endeavors, and most especially as a bookseller, because what I do is I always think outside the box, or well, I always attempt to think outside the box. So for me, it's like when you're a class teacher and you're trying to introduce a new concept to your students, you're always thinking, how can I present it to them in a way that's exciting and different and will dazzle them? And that's what I try to bring to my experience as a bookseller and also as a publisher.
That is the highlight of the Saja Book Selling Conference. Actually, there are many themes covered, as you have seen from the video presentation. We talk about creating a reading culture and the role of the bookseller. We also talk about digital, e-commerce, and social media, how it influences book selling, all right? And we also have discussed about working with publishers, because in an ecosystem where publishers and booksellers and distributors survive together, we need each other to prosper together and serve the community that we love together. And further, we have special keynotes on specific case studies from various countries, as well as trends in bookselling and how the booksellers connect with each other to form a fellowship, where we share ideas and help each other serve better in our community. Further, we have stock curation about presentation and customer service, which has been widely shared. And one of the highlights is that the new business models. Now, due to time constraint, we can't share every track with you, but we are going to share about the new business models, how booksellers has pivoted from the traditional business into some new business that we are doing. All right. First of all, I will share the highlights from the few speakers that spoke about the new business model of bookselling, and later on, we will have a discussion with a panel of our experts on the stage. So because everybody wanted to know, I won't call everybody on the stage yet, because they also want to see the presentation and they don't want to miss this part. All right, I will start with the presentation of the highlights of the new business model. Okay, Emma is our coordinator, actually. So the things that she brought forward, a team of booksellers from different continents. The main message actually is we need to collaborate. Those days we thought it's a zero-sum game where you win, I lose, you win. No, not anymore. We need to work together. We need to share ideas. If some ideas work in Malaysia, all right, we will see how we could have the same idea work with the UAE, and at the same time, we pivot a bit, customize it to be locally applicable. So when booksellers gather, actually we just don't want to leave, because it's so exciting. There's a lot of stories that we want to tell, but we haven't had the opportunity to tell them all. So I think maybe Malaysia may be the next person to actually host the next booksellers or publishers or book industry conference together, which is really, really fun. All right, the next message, Steph. So for AG, this speaker actually come from Estonia. Now, Estonia is not a very big country. They have only 1.3 million population, but they started the bookstore in year 2000, I think, with just one bookstore. And in such a short time, it's really amazing. They become the largest bookstore in the whole country. And what they did is that they need vertical integration. Now, sometimes we talk about horizontal integration. What does this mean by horizontal integration? From bookseller, you become a distributor, you become a publisher. All right? So you do the horizontal integration, which is what most of us are doing at the present moment. But when they go on a vertical integration, actually, they buy over cinemas. They start cinemas. They start bowling alley. They start amusement center. So when you go to amusement center and play, you get a voucher to buy books at a discount. You go to a bowling alley to play bowling, you get to go to cinema. And when you go to cinema, you get more vouchers as well. So they are actually building a whole ecosystem where every business that the company owns will bless the other business that they have. So it's a really interesting vertical integration kind of business model that we're doing, and we can't wait to hear more about them. All right, the next model. Now, this model is actually done in India. It's very interesting. They are actually, it's like a social enterprise. What they do is that they go throughout India, all right? They go tell stories, and they travel 35,000 over kilometers to tell stories. Now, one of the emphasis that I really admire about them is that they actually reach out to the rural poor. Some rural poor really don't have any access to any books as such. They share, they tell the stories, they give out the books, and the community begin to start reading, loving books, and it's going to be a really cool economic multiplier effect where people learn and build a country together. So it's really interesting. And one really, really cool thing is that they even have the first electric car, all right, to share about STEM. by putting books in the electric car and travel the whole country. All right? All right, the next speaker is talking about, basically, it's about massive, massive data and massive, massive content. Whether it's print or digital, booksellers, you name it, we can sell it. The next item is, that's me actually. So we actually talk about power of collaboration. I shared two main cases. Firstly, the first case is about how our National Library has so successfully implemented voucher buku Motek or the National Library book voucher, which we actually give 10 ringgit to each citizen to buy a book, and then the book will be left with the community, and the community will use it, and after the child grows up, they'll pass it on to the community and the next generation and the mosque and the community center, so that this book will continue to serve the community over and again. It's a really, really successful story that we are really proud of to be Malaysian, to have implemented this. And one of the key men that is has come up with the idea is our brother Arif over there, together with the Bookseller Association, the Publishers Association, and the support, of course, from the National Library. Is a tremendous success. People just love the idea. Because you know why? For 10 ringgit, in any part of the world, you just pay for the freight of ferrying the book in and ferrying the book out. But we just give it out and let it prosper and grow, which is really, really fantastic. And another area that we share about is that we start the kids reading when the kid is in the tummy. The parents read to them in the tummy, and when you are born, we give the mother books, the newborn baby kid, that they read, they hear, they use the app, they have a mother's manual, a parent's manual, a school manual, a librarian manual to actually help the community grow. Now, one of the best things is to invest when they are there. When they are born with books, they will love books all their life. That is one of the best investments that you could actually have, which is also something that we are so proud that we have started this in Malaysia. And frankly, the credit I would actually give to the Pustaka Negeri Sarawak or the Sarawak government for starting this initiative. And the rest of the country in other states, they also find that this is already tested and proven, and they are actually beginning to take steps on these things as well. All right, so that's all. So the thing is that basically this conference, we have panel and forum speakers, we have keynotes and presentations, we have networking and matchmaking. This is booksellers alone, but we can duplicate this for publishers, for booksellers, for distributors, for illustrators, for independents, booktubers, you name it. Let's grow it actually. All right, thank you very much. This is a short overview. All right, now I would like to introduce our moderator of the day. Rather than going through a few pages of their CV, I'll just introduce them as friends. All right, now, Encik Adi is a friend and brother who has served in the industry for many, many years. He's the president of the Malaysian Book Contractor Association, a legal profession, a lawyer in training, but came into the book world to serve with the book community, and he has blessed the community tremendously. He's a very vocal guy, and we just love to hear his views, so which is why we got him to be the moderator today. All right? And I'd like to invite Brother Adi on stage to introduce our speakers and invite our speakers on stage to do the presentation as well. Brother Adi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for a very grand introduction for me, Mr. Keith Tong. And before we continue, I would like to invite Mr. Kenny and Mr. Hafiz as the panel speakers of the day upstage. A big round of applause, please, everyone. And I would like to welcome everybody in Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur, Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair 2022 in World Trade Center in Kuala Lumpur. And of course, to the viewers that will watch this, and we are recording now live, but and there's no cuts and there's no clips or anything. This is gonna be a very long event, but we're gonna end it not very long time. So I would like to just now introduce our panel speakers, but for the sake of time, I would like them to introduce themselves. So before that, I will give the mic to back to Mr. Keith so that he can introduce himself properly this time.
All right, very warm welcome. My name is Keith Tong. I'm the chairman of the Malaysian Book Industry Chamber, which comprises the Book Publishers Association, the Booksellers, the Book Importer-Exporter, the Book Contractor Associations, and the Bumiputra Book Publishers and Distributor Association. So we basically serve together as a community and bless our nation in the book and education industry. So this is a little bit about our background. All right, I would like to share a little bit about the two friends. And basically, Kenny, my introduction is more on a personal basis. Kenny is the most well-liked guy. Oh, okay. He say I must not steal the thunder. Let them introduce themselves.
Yes, I'm not a very professional moderator, and I'm so sorry for the miscommunication. Thank you, Mr. Keith, for his brief introduction of himself. And I would like to pass the mic to Mr. Kenny Chan to properly introduce himself for this one talk at PBA KL.
Selamat petang, everybody. My name is Kenny Chan. I don't know how to do a proper introduction, but I try. Currently, I'm a consultant with Books Kinokuniya. I used to be the senior director in Books Kinokuniya for Asia Pacific, and I've been involved in most of the opening of the stores, including the KL store. And one of our proudest stores actually that we opened would be the one in Dubai. We opened Dubai about more than 10 years ago, and now we have 2 stores in the United Arab Emirates. But my career actually started even before that. I helped to open Popular in Malaysia in the 80s, and I worked in MPH as well, and a few distributors as well as publishers like Read International. I was in PMS, etc. So this is a very, very short one, but you can buy my book when it's ready. That will be in 10 years' time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny Chan, for your nice introduction. At his age, he's very experienced. You know, we're going to get a lot of thoughts and insights from him in a short while. So the next guest speaker, actually all these 3 are the guest speakers for today. And I'm going to ask questions to all 3 of them. And because we are running short of time, we're actually going to finish at 8 o'clock. And because of so many events that have been taking place today, so we are supposed to start at 6 p.m. just now, but we are 1 hour late. So we have a couple of minutes left. So our third speaker would be Mr. Hafiz Latif, and I'll give the microphone for him to give a proper introduction.
Baik, thank you Mr. Adi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good day to everyone. My name is Hafiz Latif, also known as Bang Pis in Malaysian book industry. I'm a publisher called Legacy Ohad, also a publisher consultant for Kuras Buku, and also an literary agent for Rimau Rights Literary Agency. However, for today, I'm wearing the cap of President Malaysian BookTube, President of Malaysian BookTube My Association. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hafiz. And a very good round of applause for all the three speakers here today. Thank you very much. So I will firstly pass the microphone to Mr. Kenny Chan to do his presentation. And right after his short presentation, then we will do another presentation, right? And shortly after that, we will go ahead with the talk. You want to do presentation? Okay.
Evening, everybody. Actually, my presentation is pretty long, but I'll shorten it. The main point, of course, for this presentation is the question of new models of the book selling business. But quickly, I'll go through Kinokuniya's history. Basically, Kinokuniya was set up in 1927, so we'll be 100 years old very soon. First store, 1969, San Francisco, outside Japan. Second store, the second significant store is Singapore in 1983. And then the third most significant store is Sydney, that is in the 90s. And the thing that changed for Kinokuniya is when Borders came to Singapore in 1997. At the time, Kino was a smaller store, but now it's pretty big. You can see from there the details. And recently, we just reopened our store in Bangkok at the Central World. It's a very big store, and it's got a separate store which does only manga and comics. So this is part of the new model, but I'll talk about it more after. We can skip the retail bookstores. Currently, we have 72 stores in Japan and a bit more outside Japan. One very important point I want to bring up, but I will shorten it, is the core values. The core value is very important because even if you go into the future, if your core value is not solid, you will lose direction. So ours is very simple. To simplify it further is to create opportunities of context between cultures. So in every country that we open, we make sure that we support the local ecosystem, the publishers, the writers, and of course the community. Meaning that, for instance, in Dubai, we really went all out to have a very, very strong Arabic book section, which we are very proud of. And in Malaysia also, we try to push more and more into Malay books, which is very important to us. And in Singapore, of course, local literature, we are very proud of what we have there. So in every country that we have, we will work with the local cultural community to grow the ecosystem together. And that's very important. Of course, we are also aware that we need to take care of the future as well. So very simple, this is the secret formula of Kinokuniya. The three things that we need to have. And all bookshops should consider this. And I think in future, whether you are in different formats, you have to consider this. One is the range of products. Of course, the range depends on the size of the store, but if you have a big store, you need to have a range. Because range is the only way you can fight against big format warehouse stores. You can also fight against online store. Because online stores do not have the physical range that book lovers want to see. For instance, if you're into manga, you want to see Demon Slayer, all the 23 volumes, which are all out now, in Japanese, in Chinese, and we have in English as well. So these are things that are very important to us. Of course, more importantly is, equally important is the excellent service. Customer service is very important. Okay, so, that goes without saying. And one thing that we put there is ambience. Ambience is basically to create the environment in the store. And that requires a bit of research, meaning we need to see the community, see what is the demographics of the community, and build up a story. So every store that we open, we try to have a story, and we work with the designer and the architect to make sure that the story connects with our customers. And so far, so good. Okay, the next thing that we really think about very strongly, of course, is to build a system that works for us. So far we have the online store. Online has two elements: direct B2B, business to business. That means selling to institutions and corporations and all. And we have the retail store, which is the bricks and mortar. And of course, we have the web store as well. So these are the tripod we call it, and all of them are equally important to us. Okay, let's talk a bit about the future. Platforms is actually the way that you connect with the customer, whether in the future where you have the metaverse. I don't know how that's going to work, but definitely we will look into that. And of course, social media. Social media, of course, we work very closely with all the different teams, and every team have their own way of doing social media. Because social media, every country is different. Every country have their own team of people and their own range of products, etc. So they need to do it differently. So the way we do social media is a bit like guerrilla warfare. So every autonomous unit in every country will do their own thing. And somehow it works because we have a shared value. So with that core value which I mentioned just now, we roughly know where we are going. Of course, it will be done differently in different countries, obviously, because of cultural, geographical distance, etc. So platforms are very important. Locations is basically based on for bricks and mortar. Because bricks and mortar, we need good locations. Like in Malaysia, we are lucky to have the KLCC store. And in Dubai, we actually have it at the Burj Khalifa, which is the Dubai Mall. And that is a very, very iconic building. In Singapore, we have it in Ngee Ann City, in the heart of Orchard Road, which is still an iconic building with Takashimaya still holding the fort in the first tower. So that's very important. And of course, in New York also, we have one flagship store, which is very nicely placed, very near the New York Public Library, which is it's very close to Times Square and Union Station, etc. So that's a very important store for us as well. This one is something I love to talk about, which is very important for all businesses, including books, which is the merchandise mix. Merchandise mix is basically the range that you offer to your customer. You can have the nicest store, you can have best service, but you don't have the range of products that they want, then it won't work. So the range of products is something that in every store, we work very hard to get it right. And because we are a multicultural store, there's a different dimension to it, which means the people who do the buying must consider. In Singapore, we have Japanese, English, Chinese, a bit of Korean, and in Malaysia, of course, we have Malay books. In Dubai, we have Arabic books. In Thailand, we have Thai books as well, of course. So all these are very important. So the merchandise mix or the offer of books that we have in every store is slightly different. Of course, the one question you ask is, but big store, of course, can have a big mix. A small store can have a small mix. That is quite obvious to some people. So this is something that we learn from our mistake, and we have sort of got it right at the moment. Because when Borders came to Singapore in 1997, we had to do a different style. Because before that, we were more focused on Japanese books. and books on things on Japan, although we have a lot of English books. When borders came in, we have to think hard, and which is why we have the mix that we have today, which is very, very, very strong at the moment. Collaborations mean to work with partners to see how we can do, whether it's for marketing reasons or for strategic reasons, we always have try to have collaborations. For instance, in Singapore, we do collaboration with brands like Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc sometimes have certain anniversary events where they produce certain kind of pens to commemorate John Lennon or Hans Christian Andersen, and we normally have exhibitions in our store. In fact, we collaborate with a lot of people to make events more exciting. We have had fashion show in the store before. We have launched even a Japanese girl band in our store. So anything is possible as long as it's connected to what we think Kinokuniya is all about, which is to be cool, to connect with our customer, and customers are of all ages. So as the ending goes, only connect. It's a famous line I always love from E.M. Foster, Howard's Iron. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I think you'll see later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny Chan. A big round of applause for Mr. Kenny Chan. Kinokuniya company has been there for 95 years. It has lasted more than the average age of most people in the world. So for the company to become established and still going strong at that age, 95 years old, and another 5 years becoming 100 years old, I mean, that is something that we should be proud of, and something that can be a good example for all of us and anyone or any company who wants to still be in the competitive world of book selling in the world. And for the next presentation, I would like, you see, before I go for the next presentation, give another 2 minutes for you to prepare. The main topic for today is book selling. Actually, I wanted to open up just now, but because this is a freelance moderator thing, so the topic for today is actually new models of book selling. As we know that books that have been there for hundreds of years, and it's a very unique product. And even in our religion, Islam, says that in the Quran, it says that read. And from that time until today, we normally read from the book. And what we do here now is how are we going to sell the books and the art of book selling that have been changed from generations, from years, for many years from before until today. But the book remains the same. Only the difference that we have now is how different ways of us selling the books, through platforms, through everything. And the main question that is inside everybody's head is, will the book sustain? The traditional book, will it sustain until another 100 years to come? Well, I hope maybe one of the speakers can answer that question. But before that, I would like to present our second speaker, actually our third, because just now Mr. Keith has already done his presentation, and because he's also the MC for today. Yeah. And I would like to invite the third speaker of today, Mr. Hafiz Latif, on his new and modern styles of book selling. Please welcome.
Right. Cuman. Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to everyone. Before I proceed with my presentation today, I would love to invite all of us to watch my short videos for a BookTube Malaysia Association. So everybody, Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair, please kita tonton bersama. Saya mohon izin untuk menggunakan bahasa Melayu juga. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, para pengunjung yang sedang berada di Kuala Lumpur International Book Fair, Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur, saya mengundang dan menjemput anda semua untuk bersama-sama menonton video yang telah pun saya sediakan. Thank you. Budaya membaca dan aktiviti perbukuan harus sentiasa digerakkan, tidak kira dah dalam apa juga medium sekalipun. Ketika seorang penulis telah pun menghasilkan karyanya, penerbit telah mengambil langkah untuk menerbitkan dan memasarkan karya tersebut, siapa lagi yang mengambil peranan untuk turut menyampaikan suara tersebut ke seluruh pelosok dunia? Di sinilah munculnya para booktuber untuk mengisi ruang ini selain para penggiat aktiviti, para penggiat industri kandungan yang lain. Contoh, para podcaster ataupun audiosiar misalnya, pembangun e-buku, pembangun konten-konten dalam bentuk digital yang lain juga. Dan para booktuber ini memainkan peranan sebenarnya untuk mengetengahkan karya-karya yang telah pun mereka baca, bukan sahaja dalam bentuk ulasan buku, tetapi mungkin juga dalam bentuk book haul ataupun unboxing, nyah kotak dan sebagainya. Dan kemunculan Booktuber Malaysia, iaitu sebuah komuniti yang kita tengah bangunkan. Saya antara salah seorang pengasas, iaitu Hafiz Latif ataupun Bang Fiz, bersama-sama dengan Aman Wan, kami telah pun membangunkan komuniti Booktube Malaysia untuk membantu dan juga memberi sokongan kepada para booktuber di luar sana, terutamanya booktuber dari Malaysia, untuk turut sama-sama membantu kami semua mengetengahkan karya-karya penerbit dan juga penulis tempatan. Jadi untuk anda semua yang mungkin baru mengetahui tentang komuniti Booktube Malaysia ini, terus ikuti perkembangan kami di semua media sosial yang ada, iaitu anda boleh ikuti Facebook Booktube Malaysia dan juga Instagram Booktube My untuk ikuti perkembangan terkini tentang para booktuber Malaysia yang ada di seluruh dunia sebenarnya. Dan Alhamdulillah, walaupun kita baru saja bermula komuniti ini, sehingga kini telah pun ada sekitar dalam 34 orang, dan kita harap supaya ini akan dapat menjadi ruang yang baru untuk lebih ramai lagi para booktuber menyertai komuniti ini. Jadi terus ikuti perkembangan lanjut tentang komuniti Booktube Malaysia, terus ikuti kami semua di setiap saluran YouTube masing-masing, dan jangan lupa terus bersama-sama dengan kami komuniti Booktube Malaysia. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Don't worry everybody, if you guys missed it, you can always go to my YouTube channel, Hafiz Latif, and do subscribe, please do subscribe, and you'll see more of my videos there. Alright, we'll go with my session today, which is the Booktube Malaysia Association. I would like to introduce a little bit about the Booktube My. Can we go with my slide? Thank you very much, Madam Stephanie. You guys can see it, or okay, all right, thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, so next, please. Next one. Okay, little bit introduction about Booktube My Association, which is Booktube My is a body of book enthusiasts. We are also a batch of content creators who emphasize books from Malaysia's authors and publishers internationally. So Booktube My dynamically organize series of webinars, virtual gathering, book discussion on Facebook Live, Twitter Space, Instagram Live, Zoom, and etc. Presently, we have 70 booktubers in Booktube My since the association was founded in 2020 because of the pandemic, COVID-19. Thank you. So this is all the collaborations that we've done with Kuala Lumpur World Book Capital 2020, Booktube in Indonesia, and also Institut Terjemahan Buku Malaysia, which is we also invite speakers from Indonesia, Singapore, and also the other one. Yeah, next, thank you. And also from the Philippines. So we've done book discussion and also how to you know, how to collaborate and introduce more about the books, especially from the Southeast Asia region. And yes, we do open collaboration with all the publishers here. In fact, it's not only for the publishers, also for the self-published authors, which is if you guys, you know, you need to promote your products, you need to promote your books. So we do have the package for you guys to collab, which is one of it is the Buku Fiksi. We've done the collaboration, and all the booktubers, they make contents for the Zoom and also the Twitter Space, Instagram Live, and definitely, yes, from their own YouTube channel. So this is all the activities that we've done. And this is our website, official website. If you guys want to know about, you know, if you guys want to know more about the BookTube My Association, you can also go to our website, www.booktubemy.com. And if you guys want to be part of us as a member of BookTube My Association, also you can just fill up the form and be part of the BookTubers. So I think that's all. That's all. Okay, all right. So that's all. Little introduction. Maybe we'll do more after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hafiz Latif Bangpis. That is his commercial name in the YouTuber society, Booktuber society. I remember in the old days where we sell books. It started with book peddlers that goes from house to house, it goes from school to school, carrying all the books to the schools, to the customers, selling one book in a price, you know, and wrapping the books and give it to the customer. But as time passes by, you see, it changes, and technology changes. And I'm very, such a young and remarkable young man, to have the technology inside, using it for the benefits of book selling. A very round of applause for Mr. Bangpis. Now, we come to the next session of the One Talk. I would like to give the microphone to Mr. Keith again for him to answer some questions. Yeah. The first question would be, you see the traditional book selling that we have now, bricks and mortar bookshops, how long do you think that is going to survive the landslide of technology that we are having now? Is it going to be another 5 years? Or is it going to be 10 or 20? Or will it still remain the same as what we have before? So I'll pass the mic to Mr. Keith to answer that question.
Thank you very much. To me, this is a personal opinion. I think Kenny is the real expert with all the big data in his hands. But to me, as an individual layman or people in this field, I think the print books will last forever and ever. All right? Sometimes it depends on the category. We serve various segments from consumer to institution market, actually. Depends on what you are learning. Like say, for example, if it is academic, you go to university, the kind of data is so huge that you cannot contain it into a thumb drive. So you need database for you to search, all right? Like few million articles, you search and you get the answer to specifically what you need. But for a novel, how would you want to read a novel in... Sometimes we have the iPad drop on the eye or the phone drop in the eye while you read halfway and fall asleep. You will still love the book, the smell of the book, the touch of the book, the feel of the book. You cuddle your book to sleep actually when you read them. So that thing I don't think will change. It will be forever. Kenny, over to you. Do you agree with me or not?
The book has been around a long time, and I've been asked this question time and again over the decades, and the answer is it's quite a unique product. But whether it will transform into another unique product, the content remains the same. But the actual feel and physicality of the book, I think, will not change. Because for human beings, when you are attached with something, an idea, some content, you want it in physical form. I give you a very good example in terms of what the Generation Z and the younger generation is looking at. You see, for manga, you can get it online, and you can get it, in fact, there's something called scanlations, meaning that sometimes the manga that comes out of Japan comes out so fast, but there are actually fans that are giving it free in terms of translating it and putting it on the online. And you can read these scanlations, meaning like, for instance, the latest volume of Spy Family. It's not out yet. In Japanese, it's out, but not in English or Chinese or Estonian, but there are translators doing that. And they are all volunteers. But has that affected the sales of the book? The answer is no, surprisingly. Why no? Because when the younger ones will understand this. If you are caught with a character you like in Demon Slayer, for instance, not only will you read the manga, you may buy it in Chinese even you can't read Chinese, because it's pictures, and you may even buy it in Japanese. And I do that personally, if I like a certain story. So the future is still bright, I think, for the physical book. As long as I said, the publisher and the bookseller can connect with the customer.
Okay. I suppose books will remain as a book, but the content of the book will come in many forms. It will come in a form of a physical book, or it will come in the form of internet, or in a video, or in an e-book. So there are many forms of books. So I would suggest that we can all agree that book will remain for many years to come. It's just the different form of the book that will be changed.
Yes, totally agree. In fact, not only that, it branches out to all kinds of merchandise which we collect, and we find that almost every month our budget goes into that. I think one question because due to limitation of time, we have 2 minutes left. One question to Tuan Hafiz. Yeah. Among all types of social media, what is the number one social media that sell the most books?
Wow. What is the most social media platform?
IG ke, Twitter ke, TikTok ke, Facebook ke?
Frankly, for me, for Legacy Heart itself, the main platform that can sell the books is actually the Instagram, because when we make content and we take pictures and we do some sort of like Bookstagram, so Instagrammable, so it's gonna be sellable also. So I think it's the Instagram for me at least.
Yeah, I think it's true, right? My children use Instagram, they don't use Facebook. They say, Daddy, you use Facebook, you old people. So, yes.
The last year, in the Singapore Sunday Times bestseller list, in fact, the last 6 months, the top 10 fiction titles are all book talk titles, and also Instagram is connected. But for us, the book talk has really come up very, very strongly. And even for the manga side, especially for Kino, the last 3 months, we follow this animation called Spy X Family. The X is silent actually. 7 volumes so far in English, and in the top 10, all 7 are inside. So, IG, I still think is TikTok, Book Talk, but let's agree to disagree.
All right. Thank you for all the 3 speakers. I think we have heard a lot from them, and I hope that we can all learn at least something about book selling, the various ways of book selling that that we are having now, especially by the advance of technologies that we have, that is changing the book scenario, the book selling scenario, and hopefully we don't know what's going to come in the future, because there might be some other styles and ways of book sellings, but the main fact here remains that book will always be there until years to come. So with that note, I will end the session and I'll pass back to our great MC for today, Mr. Keith, with very big thanks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope you have some takeaways that will help your business and for you to serve and further bless your community. A big thank you to Tuan Hafiz, to Mr. Kenny Chan, to Tuan Adi Iwan. Thank you. Good night.